was a fake alarm. The ship is stable. What the hell?
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I think I'll need to continue the mission without humans. This is so after the year. But don't worry, the ship will be just fine. I have a lot of service spots to maintain it.
Did you hear it? This pile of microchips tricked us. Do you have any ideas? I think I can try to hack and take control of one of the service robots which is mentioned and attract AI attention on me. And you will need to take a cyber attack and take direct control on a robot on a server room. Okay, I'm trying to connect.
What are you doing?
I mean, can you guide me? I don't see you. Can you wave your hand? I'm here. Come on, it's close. I need your help.
Well, here you are.
Hi everyone! I'm so excited to show you the project in which our team are working so hard for the last months. About the video, we'll come back to this a little bit later. As you have seen, our game is not just a board game. Our game is a board game with unique game mechanics. But board game means what you need to play with somebody. And here is the hardest part, the multiplayer. When we came to VFS, none of us knew about multiplayer a thing, and especially about Unreal Engine. I started looking for all existing information about it from internet and instructors. But there is not much information about multiplayer for Unreal Engine. One more unexpected problem was that it's impossible to test multiplayer into VR into one computer. Thankfully, in VFS we have extra headsets, and after I prepared a second PC for tests and spent around 1 month researching, we finally have stable multiplayer for 4 people on our amazing map. I am so glad we just needed 2 days to create such a map. This is so easy in Unreal Engine 5, especially when you have tons of free assets in an Epic Game Store. And yes, this is our map, where players will need to defeat ship AI. But how are players gonna do this? This map is huge, and the only one solution which worked for us, it was to create a new locomotion style. As an inspiration point, we decided to take existing titles such as Dima, Shapes XR and Horizon Worlds. We spent a lot of time for user testing during implementation process. And I am so glad to say that our new locomotion mechanics were successfully integrated into our multiplayer system. And to tell you more about locomotion mechanics, here is Morlan.
Let's talk about the 2 locomotion styles we've got in our game. You can imagine the first one as if you are playing the usual board game, where you have a top-down style game. In this mode, you can scale, rotate, and move yourself around to explore the map and interact with everything. But also, at some points along the game, you will need to take control over the robots for the cyber attack. And because all these robots are gonna be directly inside the spaceship, you're gonna have to use different game mechanics. These include teleportation, grabbing guns, and interacting with terminal, all while trying to avoid enemy robots who are going to be chasing you. The users will also have a dynamic laser pointer as an interaction tool. Thanks to it, players will be able to interact with either widgets or the board game. So they will not need to waste time grabbing objects over the board. They will just need to point at them and choose the actions they want to make and save time. This is important because our game is time-based, and each player will have a limited amount of time for their turn. And since the game mode keeps changing and being fast is vital, the players need to stay focused and active. So even though it is a turn-based game mode most of the time, there is no wait time to get bored. We also have some other features in mind, but for now, these are gonna be the main ones we implement, because we have to limit our scope. And for more on that, Higo will tell us about scope management.
Thank you, Morlan. Since we started with the project, we have made many changes, and backlog is not the exception. One of our main changes on the backlog is the identification of the epics. Now we have 7 epics: player pawn, board pieces, puzzle, dice widget, enemies, terminals, and the map. Once we identify the epics, we discuss about the minimum requirements these epics need to be considered them as completed. We create tasks based on those requirements and put them on our Trello board. These tasks are grouped by columns that represent the epics. This makes easy to identify on what each one is working on and the pending tasks. To measure the progress, we have the columns doing, ready to merge, ready to test, bugs, fixed bugs, and done. Also, as I mentioned before, these help us in the prioritizing process as we can easily identify which are the most important tasks, or at least the tasks that are the core of each epic. We also have some color tags to identify to which part of the game each feature belongs to. For example, orange for the board game functionality, green for general features, and blue for the first-person view functionality. There's also a red and yellow tag. The first one represents tasks that we consider may be difficult either because we need to research about it before developing or because it may be a difficult task that may take a lot of time for development. This new way of organization helps us to prioritize our backlog and have clear ideas for the development of a minimum valuable product. It also helps us to identify our resources, and with the resources we estimated our budget. Talking about resources, we have 4 developers, 1 product manager, 4 computers, and at least 2 headsets. Being at this point hasn't been easy. We have faced many situations that my teammate Jorge is going to talk about.
Thanks, Hugo, for the introduction. My name is Jorge. Let me tell you about some of the problems we have had, how did we solve them, and what worries us now. When we started discussing our project, the 4 of us were very excited and dedicated a good amount of our time thinking of a lot of features to add. However, because of other homework, projects, and personal life, the team started to distance, creating planning and communication issues. Thankfully, right before the situation became more delicate, Amir Tamadon, our Unreal Engine professor, started looking after the students that are planning to use or using Unreal Engine for their final projects. For us, he suggested a much more better structured and refined way of working. He made us redefine our scope, assign tasks and due dates for individual as well as team deliverables. It was also because of his advice that we could talk through our differences and reach an agreement, and we're thankful for that. Right now, we're working on defining how each member can spend their time to find the right balance between homeworks, the client project, cyber attack, and of course, our personal life. This will be achieved by setting the due dates that I've already mentioned, but also understanding that stuff can happen so that cyber attack can become a great game. Oh yeah, and about the video, here it is.